welcome. When you're ready, we'll come onto our back. I'm going to say seated, but feel free to come onto your back. And before you find stillness, just start to maybe bring the knees to the chest, maybe kind of rock side to side, just starting to connect with the pelvis. So tonight we're going to focus on the sacral chakra, which is this place within the pelvis, right below the navel, right below the belly button. So feel free to just connect with the pelvis to start. Knees to the chest, rocking side to side, maybe some circles with the legs. Just starting to connect with that space that surrounds the sacral chakra, the pelvis, that bowl-like structure we talk a lot about in class. And then whenever you do feel ready, you can start to find some stillness. So tonight, option to take that Shavasana-like posture, send the arms and the legs long, or maybe you want to explore the pelvis, the hips a little bit more. So you can find Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, soles of the feet together, knees can go wide. You can even place blocks or roll up a blanket, a pillow, place it to the outer thighs for support. Or you can take the opposite position, bring the knees together and feet can go out wide. Constructive rest pose. And this might, allow the psoas, the muscles in front of the hip bones, to lengthen out, which will actually help lengthen out the low back. So find a place where you can relax, where you can find stillness within the body. Ultimately, any position where you feel supported, where you feel grounded. And then option to bring the awareness inward. Maybe see what's happening in the mind, any thoughts. Maybe notice any emotions that may come up. But remember, we're just noticing, not here to judge, not here to attach. Just notice what might be coming in and then allow it to go out. Reminding ourselves that thoughts will always be there, but instead of attaching ourselves to those thoughts, can we just watch them go by? And then option to reconnect with the sacral chakra, the pelvis, the space below the navel, this place of creativity, emotional balance, and the power of letting go. Maybe start to imagine your pelvis filling up with a bright orange light, like the sun, shining its energy to every inch of the body. Starting to feel that warmth from within. That orange ball of energy, ball of warmth from the pelvis, starting to shine its way out to the legs, to the feet, to the arms, to the hands, the fingers, up into the chest, the neck, and all the way into the head. Feeling that warmth in every cell of the body. And then option to imagine a beach and the waves coming in and coming out. Just like our breaths, the inhales pulling the waves to shore, and the exhales withdrawing the waves back into the sea. Starting to connect with the fluidity, the flow, the playfulness of the water. And as you continue to meditate, maybe start to connect with an affirmation that will help you carry that playful flow of water with you into your physical practice. Allowing the body to find fluidity, to find playful movements here on our mat to help us express our creativity off our mats. And if nothing comes to mind, I offer up the positive affirmation statement of I allow my creativity to flow through me. I allow my creativity to flow through me. I allow my creativity to flow through me. So if you have a statement, an intention, go ahead, place it at the third eye. Holding it there, coming back to it whenever you need to. Reconnecting to the flow of creativity that's already within you. And take a deep inhale in through the nose. Start to fill up from the base of the spine, carrying that energy all the way up to the top. And then maybe open mouth, exhale, slowly letting the breath go. One more deep inhale in through the nose, filling up from the base of the tailbone, all the way up to the crown of the head. And then slow open mouth, exhale, letting the breath go. And then letting the breath come back to your rhythm, your pace. Finding the flow of the breath, just like the flow of the waves. Slowly coming in and slowly letting go. And remind yourself you can always come back to this flow of the breath, this ocean-like movement in the chest and of the belly. Maybe letting the breath, letting that orange ball of light within the pelvis or anything else be your focal point tonight. Giving the mind something to focus on to help the mind stay here, present with the body. And then you can stay here for as long as you want. Honor your meditation practice, honor your body, your mind. But whenever you're ready, maybe slowly start to reawaken the body. Start to wiggle the fingers, the toes. Maybe roll the ankles, the wrists, let the head rock heavy side to side. Maybe take a nice full body stretch, reach the arms up overhead. And then you can start to bring the knees to the chest. And coming back to that movement you might have took in the beginning. Maybe rocking side to side. Drawing some circles on the low back, giving the low back some love. And then option for wind removing pose. So you can place your left foot on the ground or extend the left leg. Maybe grab for the right shin or the right thigh. You can even kind of just hover the right foot. But start to explore the right hip. Maybe sway the knee side to side. Maybe roll the ankle. Point and flex the toes. But just see how the right side is feeling tonight. Try to relax through the face, through the jaw. Soften through the shoulders. And then option to send the knee as far to the right as you want. So maybe starting to draw the knee over towards the right shoulder, the right armpit. You can always kind of place the left hand on the left hip, making sure the left hip is rooting down. So you don't want to kind of roll too far to the right. And the left hand can stay or it can come back to the right. You might feel compression in the psoas muscle, that muscle in front of the hip. And then you can stay here. This is a variation of half happy baby, or option to maybe interlace the fingers behind the thigh and start to stamp your right foot onto the ceiling. Okay, so a lot of variations here. You can stay and just gently draw, the back of the thigh, the knee towards the right shoulder, the right armpit. You can always use your strap here and place it around the right foot and gently still draw the knee over towards the right shoulder. If you have the space, you can always grab for the back of the foot, maybe with the right hand. Just see how this feels, and then most importantly, find the variation that feels best for you right now. Sometimes I feel like this posture with the right heel pressing towards the sky kind of reminds me of lizard lunge on the back. Try to relax the shoulders, the jaw. Take one more big inhale. Stay for the exhale. And then when you're ready, release any variation you have, and then we'll find the twist. You can send the knee over to the left. So you're going to have space here. Maybe the right knee hovers, maybe you slide a block or a pillow underneath the right side, or you can always use the left leg, slide the left leg up underneath the right as well. But reminding yourself the knee, your right shoulder blade do not have to touch the ground here. You can roll, as far to the left as you want, or you can kind of lift up and lift the right knee off the ground if that feels best as well. And we're going to hold longer postures tonight. So as best as you can, see if you can stay here. Know that you can always venture out. But try to relax through the jaw. Maybe start to close the eyes. And then coming back to the focal point. Maybe coming back to the flow of your breath. And then at any points in class, if the mind wanders off, no worries. Just being aware of it and then bringing it back. Coming back to the focal point, take a deep inhale. Gently twist, maybe send the gaze towards the right as you exhale. And then stay as long as you want. When you're ready, you can slowly come back to center. Give the right knee a squeeze, gently pull it in. And then you're going to draw the left leg up to meet it, holding here. Full wind removing pose. Gently pull both knees to the chest. Take a big inhale. And then we'll switch sides. Right foot can come to the ground or start to extend the right leg long. Interlace the fingers around the left shin, the thigh, or maybe just kind of float the left leg. And then see if you can find some movement here. Start to explore the left hip. I'm going to go left to right, maybe find some circles. Maybe roll the left ankle, point and flex the toes. And then option to, stay, explore, or maybe start to send the knee over towards the left as far as you want. So gently pulling the knee towards the left shoulder, the left armpit. See if the right hip has lifted up. You can always take the right hand and gently press the right hip down, or maybe adjust with the left leg. And then same thing, you might be feeling compression, pinch in the left psoas, the hip flexor. And then option to stay here, or maybe half happy baby. So you can interlace the fingers behind the left thigh, stamping your left foot onto the ceiling, and then gently, kindly driving the left knee towards the shoulder still. You can always use the strap. Place the strap around the left foot. Hands can come to the inside of the left leg, and then gently draw the knee, still towards the outside edge of the mat. Kind of think of that lizard lunge, laying on the back here. You can always, grab for the heel or maybe for the edge of the foot. But no worries if that's not accessible. Finding a spot where you can breathe into it, and also a spot where you feel good. And try to relax through the face, through the jaw, soften the shoulders. And then take one more big inhale. Breathe into the inner left thigh, the left hip as you exhale. And then whenever you're ready, slowly release. And then we'll make our way into the twist, guiding the knee over towards the right. So feel free to adjust however you need to. Maybe bump the hips to the left, maybe slide the right leg underneath. But finding a place that feels good, right? So focusing on lengthening out the spine here. Crown of the head reaches tall. Maybe left knee heavy to the right. Maybe belly heavy to the left side. Then starting to settle in, maybe closing the eyes, coming back to the breath, or back to that bright orange ball of energy, of light in the pelvis. The mind has wandered off, no worries, bring it back. Take a deep inhale. Gently twist as you exhale. And then feel free to stay here in the twist as long as you want. When you're ready, slowly coming back to center. Draw the left leg back in. And then one more time, full wind moving pose. Pull the right leg in, give the knees a squeeze. And then when you're ready, slowly release. Maybe one more full body stretch here. Send the legs long. Finding some space in the front body. You can always interlace the fingers, press the palms away. Kind of allow the body to wiggle side to side. Reach forward and back. And then we're going to meet in tabletop position. Take your time getting there, no rush. But maybe knees to the chest and you can rock yourself up, or maybe start to roll to one side and gently press yourself up to a seat. But once in tabletop position, feel free to find some movement. And also we will be doing some stuff on the knees tonight, so a blanket might be nice. You can go ahead, sway the hips side to side, maybe take some circle shapes in the hips, go one way, go the other. And then option 2, take cat-cow. As you inhale into cow pose, start to lower the belly, lift the heart, find a nice little C curve here in the spine. And then exhale into cats. Really press the ground away. Ears can come in line with the biceps. Chin can draw towards the chest. Breathe space into the upper back between the shoulder blades. And then your choice. You can always flow with the breath. Inhale to cow, lower the belly, gently lift through the heart. Exhale to cat, press the ground away, belly pulls in. We're really starting to connect with the pelvis here, right? So that's where the sacral chakra is. And kind of feeling that bowl-like structure, kind of feeling how it moves here. But also feeling when the pelvis moves, what happens in the spine. Go ahead, take 2, maybe 3 more rounds of breath here. Can always add on extra movement or take away. And then coming back into tabletop, let's stretch out the arms. So we're gonna kind of do a full body class tonight. But thread the needle, reach the right hand high, take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, right arm underneath the left, gently roll to the right side. You can always place a pillow underneath you, just making sure the right side of your face is touching something, not placing pressure in the neck. And then a lot of variation here. You can always stay, maybe wrap the left hand behind you for a little half bind, reaching for the right hip. Maybe you play with balance, extend the left leg long, and then toes can stay on the ground. If you're feeling kind of fancy tonight, you can always explore the balance, maybe lifting the left toes off the ground, but find a variation that you prefer. Pressing the back of the right arm down, breathing into the outer shoulder, the upper back, maybe lifting through the chest. And if this doesn't feel right, you can always come to a seat, take the pressure off the neck, And just bring your right arm across the chest. 2 more rounds of breath. Awesome work. And then when you're ready, left knee, left palm back to the ground. Inhale, gently reach the right fingertips as high as you want. And then back to tabletop. Same thing, left side. Inhale, send the left fingertips high. And then exhale, thread the needle, left arm underneath. Gently roll to the left side. Left side of your face comes to the ground or maybe a pillow. And then press the back of the left arm down to gently lift the heart. Maybe your right hand circles back, kind of grabbing for the left hip. But finding a little lift in the chest here. You can always hang out. Maybe explore extending the right leg. Toes can stay on the ground, drive the heel away. Or maybe explore balance tonight, floating the right foot. It's okay if you somersault behind you. It's just yoga, so maybe laugh at yourself and then come right back in. You can always take a seat as well, placing the left arm across the chest. Last round of breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly right knee, right palm back to the ground. Inhale, gently reach the left fingertips as high as you want. And then releasing back into tabletop. Good. And from here, let's reset to option for child's pose. Knees can go wide, big toes to touch, send the hips back. So first one of class, we'll do a couple of these tonight. So maybe place a pillow underneath you. We'll let the hips be heavy. And then for this first one, maybe just let the arms kind of relax. You can always cross the arms, let the forehead rest on the fist or the forearms. But then take some time to check in. Maybe open and close the mouth. See where the shoulders are at. Try to soften the shoulders down away from the ears. And then checking in with the pelvis. See if this posture might be creating some space in the pelvis and the hips. Or see if you need to venture out. Just being aware of what's happening right now. And then take a deep inhale. Maybe send the breath to the back of the body, filling the back of the lungs up. And then slow, open mouth exhale. Maybe finding a little more length here. Crown of the head reaches. Heart is nice and heavy. And then take your time, but slowly coming back up into tabletop. So we're going to bring the right foot forward into the outside edge of the mat. So coming into that lizard lunge variation. So I'm going to show you a couple ways to get into it, but no, ultimately, however you get there is totally fine. All right. So option to tuck the right toes under, press the top of the left foot into the ground, and then start to press the ground away with the hands. So really active hands here. And then keep the belly pulling in so the core is active, protecting the low back. And then start to lift the right knee off the ground. Okay, from here, you can explore some circles. Maybe send the right knee towards the right arm, the elbow, bring it off to the outside. Take a couple circles. Maybe start to make those circles a little bit bigger. And then you can always switch directions, see how it feels to go the other way. Know that the glutes are definitely working here. And then maybe start to lift your right knee towards the ceiling as high as you want. So kind of sending the knee out to the outside, and then start to send the knee back towards the right arm. Plant your foot wherever it feels best. Maybe take the right hand and start to gently slide or pull that right foot forward. So hands to the inside of the right foot. Right foot is wide, and then hands can always come to blocks. Maybe a chair table, like a seat of a chair, or like an end table. And we do this a lot, but just start to explore here. Maybe kind of go side to side in the hips. Maybe let the pelvis be heavy, lift up, and then you can send the hips back for a half split, starting to breathe into the hamstring, but still kind of warming up the body here. And see if you can, find that flow of the breath here. Kind of moving with your movements, finding that nice moving meditation. But also giving the body permission to create any shapes that feel right now. 2 more rounds of breath. And then option to find lizard lunge just for a couple rounds of breath. We're still warming up here. So right leg is bent, right knee's behind the toes, hands can stay on the blocks, maybe hands to the ground, right? And one thing that's important here, try not to bring the shoulders towards the ears. See if you can soften the shoulders down away from the ears. And then, adjust the back knee as best as you can. And then option to maybe roll to the edge of the right foot. Keep the right foot flexed. Maybe finding a little more space, towards the inner thigh. And lizard lunge can be a doozy of a posture, especially if it's your first time here, haven't taken lizard lunge too much. This might be intense, so feel free to come out whenever you need to. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to come back to tabletop, meeting in child's pose. So you can start to slide that right leg back. Knees can go wide, big toes to touch. Child's pose, send the hips back. So maybe relax, reset, or option to add the side body stretch this time. Maybe walk the hands over to the left. Hands can come off the mat. Keep the right hip rooting down as you reach up and over through the right fingertips. Right ear can rest on the right arm. Just holding here, lengthening out through the right side. And then coming back to the flow of the breath here, take a deep inhale. Send the breath to the right side. Maybe let the heart be heavy, lengthening it out as you exhale. And then whenever you're ready, back to center, and then take it over to the right side, finding length through the left side body. Start to really reach the hands towards the right, especially with the left hand, thinking about reaching up and then over. And try to draw the left hip down to maybe create a little more space in the left side ribs and up into the armpit. You can always let the ear maybe rest on the left arm here. And then coming back to the breath, maybe back to your intention, your statement, or even that bright orange sun ball of energy in the pelvis. Take one more big inhale. Breathe into the left side as you exhale. And then lastly, coming back to center, one more round of breath here. Maybe walk the fingertips forward. You can always explore lifting the wrists, the elbows, breathing into the shoulders. And then slowly coming back up, coming back into tabletop, or back to even like a seated position. Maybe taking some time to kind of roll the wrists out, make a fist, and then open them back up. We'll stretch them out after this left side. So coming into tabletop, we'll do the same thing, but on the left. So active hands, belly pulls in, and then press the top of the right foot down, maybe tuck the left toes under. And then you can explore maybe floating the left knee off the ground. And then from here, maybe find some circles. So the left knee can kind of lift, go towards the left arm, come back down, heel to the sky. Maybe these circles start small, but maybe explore those circles getting a little bit bigger. And then you can take those circles the other way. The glutes are definitely working here. And then fire hydrant pose. Left knee just going to lift to the outside, but towards the ceiling. And then you're going to draw the knee back towards the left arm, step that left foot off to the side. Maybe take the left hand and slowly walk your left foot forward. So hands to the inside of the left foot, left knee is behind your toes. And then feel free to keep your hands on the ground, or maybe use your blocks or a chair, whatever feels good here. And then you can stay here or start to create some movement. Maybe sway the hips side to side. Maybe send the hips forward and back. Trying to soften the fingers. Maybe check in, see where the shoulders are at. Relax the jaw. Last 2 rounds of breath here. Feel free to move or hold. And then option 2, hold a lizard lunge. So bend back into the left leg, but keep the knee behind the toes. Maybe hands stay on the blocks, or maybe walk the hands down to the ground, or forearms can even come down to blocks. Try to keep the shoulders away from the ears. Crown of the head is still reaching forward. And you can even explore, without actually moving this left leg, can you draw the left hip back? And then you can stay here, or maybe roll to the edge of the left foot. Keep the left foot flexed so you're not rolling into the ankle and placing any pressure on the ankle joint or the knee. Not here too much longer, but know at any point you can always come out. Maybe coming back to the flow of the breath, that ocean-like movement in the chest of the belly. And whenever you're ready, slowly releasing. Last time, coming into child's pose. Slowly starting to lift back to the hands. Maybe sliding, bringing that left foot back. And knees can go wide, big toes to touch. And then any variation of child's pose that feels best, or option to maybe stretch out the triceps, maybe the shoulders a little bit more as well. So you can bring the palms together, and you might not be able to go far here, so just be mindful of that. Listen to the shoulders. You can start to bend the arms, maybe fingertips point to the sky. See how that feels. Or maybe start to work the thumbs towards the back of the head, maybe one day all the way to the back of the neck. If you have the fingers towards the back of the neck, you can gently press the backs of the arms, right above the elbow into the ground. You might find some more space through the armpits, into the tricep muscles, and even into those shoulders. But if that doesn't feel right, know that you can take any arm variation that feels best for you. And then relax through the jaw. And as you inhale, maybe send the breath to the back of the body, feeling that rise in the back body as you inhale. And then feeling some length in the spine as you exhale, slowly letting it go. Good. And then stay in child's pose for as long as you want. When you're ready, slowly coming back up. And then coming either into a seat, maybe you can kind of roll the wrists out, kind of do your jazz fingers, kind of open and close the palms, roll them out. Or coming back into our cat-cow. So back into tabletop. Always stretch out the wrists. You can, take that movement side to side with the fingertips pointing towards the outer edges of the mat. Or maybe you point the fingertips towards the knees. See how that feels, and maybe flow through a couple rounds of cat-cow. So kind of reversing, the way the fingertips are pointing, the way the wrists, the arms, the shoulders are. Kind of seeing how that feels. If it doesn't feel great, make sure to adjust. So bringing the awareness back to the pelvis. 2 more rounds of breath here. And then whenever you're ready, slowly release, roll the wrists out, maybe make a fist, open and close it. And then we'll start to come onto the forearms and slide those legs long behind you, coming into Sphinx pose. Forearms can be parallel with one another, hands can gently press down. Try not to over grip the fingers, so find balance through the fingertips here. And then see if you can gently draw the elbows towards the ribs as you lift up out of the low back. So you're going to have activation here in the belly as well, navel pulls in, and then relax the shoulders back. And then take a big inhale here. As you exhale, send the gaze to the left. See how that feels in the neck, the cervical spine. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, send the gaze to the right. And then slowly inhale back to center. Draw the elbows towards the ribs. And then as you exhale, chin to the chest. So you can hold here, really see if you can soften the shoulders, but keep the belly pulled in. And see how that feels in the back of the neck. It might feel good to take little half circles here, going to the right and then to the left. Feel free to hold wherever it feels best tonight. Two more rounds of breath here. Know that you can always send the gaze back to center. And then draw the elbows back towards the belly. Maybe start to lift through the crown of the head. Take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, lower the chest all the way down to the ground. Maybe slide those palms back underneath the shoulders or underneath the shoulders. And we'll just take a couple rounds of Cobra, creating a little more heat. But send the shoulder blades down the spine. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Start to lift through the knees. So really strong legs. And then as you inhale, little lift of the chest. Don't have to go high here. Gaze can stay down, keeping the back of the neck long. But check in with the feet, rooting down, inner thighs squeezing in and rolling up. Shoulders down away from the ears. Make sure to breathe. One more big inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly release. Maybe gaze goes to the right. Arms can come off to the side, palms face up. Heels rock open. And then you can stay here, just slowing the breath down. Maybe swaying the pelvis, the hips side to side. Or option for those deep belly breaths. As you inhale, start to fill the belly up, find compression, sending the breath to the back body. And then as you exhale, soften, slowly let it go. Take as many rounds as you want. Try to relax the glutes, let the heels rock open. One more round of breath. And then slowly bring the chin back towards center. Now your choice. You can take one more round of Cobra, walk the palms underneath the shoulders, or maybe keep the arms where they're at, but flip the palms face down. So just half locust pose, I should say just. This is a tough posture, but feel free to adjust the arms, switch them up as much as you want. But same thing, tops of the feet press down, knees lift, find your strong legs, and then start to press the palms down, but really reach the fingertips to the back of the room as you start to lift the chest. All right, so hands can stay grounded. You can always explore maybe airplane arms, reaching the arms to the back wall, keeping the shoulder blades reaching down the spine. Make sure to breathe here. And then last big inhale. As you exhale, release. Left ear can go to the mat, gaze can go right, heels rock open, palms can flip up. Relax the shoulders. And then you can take those deep belly breaths, maybe sway the hips, or maybe bend the legs, heels to the sky, gently send the legs to the right and then to the left. You can even kind of find some circles with the legs as well. And stay here for as long as you want. But when you're ready, chin comes back to center, palms or forearms can come back to the ground. Slowly start to kind of press yourself back up, maybe into tabletop. We're going to come into a seat. So let your hips fall back, sway the hips to one side, and then kick your legs out in front of you. So I'm going to introduce a new posture tonight, half or one-legged Gomukhasa. So Gomukhasa is cow face pose. We're going to kind of start to turn our attention to the outer hips, the glutes now. So know that figure four, that seated figure four or figure four on the back is a great variation, okay? So let's start with seated figure four. Left leg extends, and then edge of the right foot can come to the top of the left thigh. Keep the left foot flexed, stay here. You can always start to hinge forward. Maybe you find some space in the outer hips, or keep the heart lifted and start to bend the leg, the left leg, okay? So you can stay there, or you're gonna start to slide kind of the right knee on top of, the left knee. The knees might not touch, but kind of crossing the legs. So from the side, The knee isn't really pointing towards the sky. The knee is starting to draw down. But the knee might not, we don't want the knee to touch the leg. Find a spot that feels good. Okay? And then the right heel is kind of towards the outer left hip. Okay, so one-legged Gomukhasa cow face pose. Okay, now your choice. You can stay here. You might already be feeling some love in the outer right hip, or maybe you start to hinge forward, walk the hands forward. And you can flex the left foot slightly, but try not to, overextend or, lock out the left leg. Shoulders stay away from the ears as best as you can. Maybe open and close the mouth. And just let gravity do the work here. Sending the upper body gently towards the ground. And this might not feel great in the knee, so know that figure 4 is there. Or know that if you like figure 4, you can always go there as well. But this variation gives the left hamstring some time to stretch as we come into the outer right hip, the right glute. And I apologize, my son is not wanting to sleep. He's teething. So as best as you can, see if you can find your breath, find your focal point. This is a great way, of distraction, trying to bring it back in. Last 3 rounds of breath here. And then take one more big inhale. Maybe allow the heart to get a little heavier as you exhale. And then slowly coming back up, or releasing your figure 4, and then extend the right leg, kind of shake them out. Roll the shoulders up and down, roll the head of the neck. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So option for figure 4 to start, keep the right leg extending or straight, and then cross the edge of the left foot to the top of the thigh. Keep your left foot flexed, gently draw the left knee away. And so as you press the left knee away, you might already be feeling that outer hip stretch. Maybe you come forward here and see how that feels. Or you can find a seated figure 4, start to bend the right leg, holding here. Or come all the way down onto your back. If you want to try Gomukhasa on this side, you're going to slide kind of the foot towards the right side, kind of crossing at the knees. The right, or this is my left knee won't be touching the right leg. And then right foot can kind of stay flexed here. But take a big inhale, grow tall through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, start to hinge forward. Hands can come to the ground, maybe forehead starts to gently draw towards the legs. But if this side doesn't feel right, make sure to adjust. Figure 4 is always there. See if you can soften the shoulders away from the ears, maybe open and close the mouth, maybe close the eyes. And at any point, if the mind wanders off or if the mind attaches itself to something, just being aware of that. Try not to judge, and then as best as you can, letting that go and then bringing it back. And then last couple rounds of breath here. Take an inhale, breathe into the hamstring, maybe breathe into the outer hips. Gently fold, let it go as you exhale. And then when you're ready, slowly coming back up. Start to release, extend the left leg, shake it out. Let that posture go. If it didn't serve you, no worries. Maybe roll the shoulders up and down. And then we'll come back to the inner thighs, and then we'll finish up with the outer thighs. So we'll take butterfly pose, diamond pose, and then wide-legged forward fold. So Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. So the more the heels are towards you, the more the inner thigh stretch. The more the heels are away, which we'll do next, the more the outer hip stretch. So you can always stay here. Maybe you take your blocks or pillows, place them underneath the thighs for a little support. I like to grab for my feet, and then your choice here. Take an inhale, lengthen, grow tall, and then as you exhale, you can gently start to fold. So I like to keep the spine long to start. Maybe draw the elbows towards the inner thighs, shoulders away from the ears. And then with every inhale, lengthen, reach the heart forward. With every exhale, gently fold. And then you can always stay here if this feels good, hang out. Or maybe you start to round the spine a little bit. So not rounding the spine where the shoulders are towards the ears, but rounding the spine, maybe the chin towards the chest. Maybe you need a little love in the neck. Maybe find those half circles, going to the right and then to the left. With the cold weather that we currently have right now, I tend to live with my shoulders by my ears. So right now, adjusting, bringing the chin to the chest and kind of rounding the spine here, sending a little extra space, the tension to the upper back, to the back of the neck. And make sure you can relax through the jaw. If you need to, bring the breath towards the inner thighs. And then your choice, you can stay here or maybe start to lift up a little bit. And then you can slide the feet forward, so making that diamond shape in the legs. All right, so you can kind of see this. So diamond shape in the legs. Hands can come to the inside of the legs. Maybe kind of walk the hands underneath, kind of like the calves, and just start to come forward. You don't have to go far here to kind of, breathe into the outer hip. Maybe you start to walk the hands even forward, bringing the forearms towards the ground. And sometimes I tend to clench my glute muscles so I don't release. So see if you're kind of clenching around the pelvis, the glute muscles. See how that feels, giving the body permission to kind of let go. To kind of breathe space into the outer hips. But same thing, shoulders away from the ears, maybe open and close the mouth. Even close the eyes here, a couple more rounds of breath. And take one more deep inhale. Gently fold as you exhale. And then when you're ready, slowly release the hands if you need to from under the legs, starting to lift up. Extend the legs long, kind of shake them out. Maybe roll the shoulders up and down. And then we'll take a seated forward fold before we go into our wide-legged forward fold. So last little bit of love for the hamstrings here, but extend the legs straight on front of you. And then start to pull the belly in, find length here, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, walk the hands forward. So the heart can reach towards the tops of the feet, shoulders away from the ears, thinking of reaching out of the low back here. If you have blocks, pillows, you can always start to stack them, letting the forehead maybe rest. But we'll take about 5 to 8 rounds of breath. And always remember, place a bend in the legs as much as you need to here. You might actually find a little more space in the belly of the hamstring. If you need to, check in, see where the mind is at. And you're really feeling the flow of the breath here. Inhales, filling up. Exhales, letting go. Take one more deep inhale. Maybe fold a little more as you exhale. And then option 2, stay, but maybe start to explore pointing the toes, breathing into the tops of the feet, to the ankles, and into the shins. You can even kind of round the spine here a little bit, sending the chin to the chest, a couple rounds of breath. And then whenever you're ready, slowly release, maybe flex the toes again, wiggle it out, and then coming back up. Roll the shoulders up and down, take any organic movements, maybe shake out the legs. And then lastly, finding our wide-legged forward fold, and then we'll come on to our back. So extending the legs out wide as you want. And if you have tightness in the low back or in the hamstrings, sitting on a pillow or a block, something that can just lift the pelvis up a little bit higher than the knees, might feel good and might give you a little more space. So you can definitely explore that. But we're not going to kind of hold or force it. I want you to really be creative here. Maybe walk the hands forward, maybe kind of sway here side to side, lean to the right, lean to the left. The only thing you maybe want to make sure is happening, that the toes are pointing straight towards the ceiling. So try not to let the toes rock in. Toes kind of point forward, inner thighs will roll up. And 2, if you prefer this standing, you can always come to a standing position and take standing wide-legged forward fold. You can always kind of reach for the right toes, really, setting the heart, the belly towards the right thigh. And then taking it over to the other side. Or maybe you just hold for a couple rounds of breath. Giving the body permission to create, to find any shape that feels best right now. And like always, try not to lock out the legs, keep a little bend in the knees. Soften the shoulders away from the ears, relax the jaw. Last 3 rounds of breath as best as you can. Bringing the awareness to the pelvis, maybe the space that is being created there, maybe the things that you're letting go. Any past experiences, anything you might be dealing with right now, giving the body permission to send those things on their way. Take one more big inhale. Maybe let the heart be a little heavier as you exhale. And then slowly coming back up. Take your time. You can slowly close the legs. Kind of start to wiggle them out. Awesome job. And then we'll meet on our backs. So take your time, grab anything you need, but come all the way down onto your back. And just like we started, maybe knees to the chest, kind of rock side to side here. Give your low back some love. Take some circles with the knees. And 2, you can stay here, or we've really been exploring the hips and even the hamstrings tonight. So maybe happy baby. So for happy baby pose, you stamp your feet onto the ceiling. You can grab for the back of the thighs, maybe gently draw the knees towards, the shoulders, towards the armpits. You can always explore maybe grabbing for the feet if you can. Sometimes grabbing for the heels is nice. It kind of gives you a little more leverage. And then you can make your baby as happy as you want. As you all probably know, babies definitely do this. They grab for their feet and they kind of just rock side to side. If you have the space in the hamstrings and the hips, maybe even straighten one leg and then straighten the other. Or you can just keep the knees pulling into the chest, whatever feels best here. And then you can stay here, or we'll find our final back bend, bridge pose. So we're going to take 2 rounds. So if you have a block, you can hold bridge for as long as you want on that block. Or maybe take 1 round active and then the second round supported. So your choice. But for bridge, Setu Bandha, feet can come about hip width distance, arms can be off to the side, palms down. And then drive the heels down, pull the belly in. You start to feel the pelvis kind of rock forward. And then when you're ready, start to lift the hips. So you're on the shoulder blades here, but feel the strength of the legs. The feet, the heels rooting down, the inner thighs squeezing towards one another. And then feel the space that might be happening in the front of the body. Maybe a little length in the tops of the thighs, the quads, stretching out those psoas, those muscles that really get compressed with, being seated, lengthening out the belly, maybe the chest, the inner shoulders. And then making sure you're breathing here. And you can stay as long as you want, or take a big inhale. As you exhale, slowly release, coming back down. And then you can stay here, or maybe Baddha Konasana on the back, supine. Feet together, knees can go wide, maybe right hand to the heart, and left hand to the belly. So there is a little back bend happening here, so don't be too alarmed if you feel a little back bend, but allow the low back to kind of relax, to soften, and then see if you can relax the shoulders away from the ears. Feeling the breath, maybe feeling your heart rates, feeling the heat you might have created in the body there, and then giving the body time to slow it down. See if you can start to really lengthen the breath out. And then you can stay here. If this feels good, hang out. If you would like one more bridge pose, maybe grab for the outer thighs, start to close the legs like a book. Bring the feet back to about hip width distance, arms off to the side. You can always grab your block here for supported bridge, but start to drive the heels down, lift the hips, lifting up to the shoulder blades. If you have that block, you can always slide it underneath you. And just finding a couple more rounds of breath here. Really feeling the strength of the back body to lengthen out the front body. So important to move the spine, to work the spine in all directions. And then making sure to breathe here. Heels rooting down, inner thighs squeezing towards one another. Navel still pulling in. One more big inhale. And then slowly, gently release, come back down. Now your choice, stay here, maybe a butterfly pose, maybe constructive rest pose, knees together, feet wide. You can always cactus the arms up overhead, maybe let the head rock heavy here. But if you are in this constructive rest pose, you can feel some length here in the low back. So stretching out the psoas, the front of the hips, those things connect all the way to the low back. So you might find some release there. And you can always stay here, or one more time. Maybe explore some movements, letting the knees go to the right, to the left. Maybe open and close the mouth. And then you can stay here, or start to bring the feet together, the knees together. Hips will slide to the right, gentle twist, and knees can fall to the left. Any variation of the twist, stack the legs, cross the legs, maybe kind of extend that left leg back long like we did in the beginning of class. Finding a final twist on the right side. Gaze can always be up, or maybe allow the chin to slowly draw towards the right. Maybe closing the eyes, feeling the breath, connecting with that ball of orange light in the pelvis, that place of creativity, that place of openness to receive. And take one more deep inhale. Gently twist, lengthen the right side out, let it go as you exhale. Now when you're ready, release, and we'll take it over to the other side. Knees to the right, hips can slide to the left. Find any variation of your gentle twist that feels good right now. Feel free to create, explore. And then once you're in the twist, hang out here. Or maybe twist the neck, the cervical spine, sending the gaze towards the left. And making sure you know that left shoulder does not have to touch the ground. The left knee does not have to touch the ground. See if you can take the ego out of it and find a spot that feels good. Last 2 rounds of breath. See where the mind is at. Take a deep inhale. Gently twist as you exhale. And then releasing, coming back to center. And then lastly, option for an inversion, legs up the wall. Maybe stay up your feet onto the ceiling. But if there's any other postures, any other stretches you need, feel free to go there. Or you can hang out with legs up the wall, move to the wall if you want. Just reversing the flow here, sending the fluids from the toes, the ankles, the legs, down the legs towards the pelvis, towards the heart. You can relax the shoulders, maybe open and close the mouth. Even let the head rock heavy side to side. And then option 2, find gratitude. Thank yourself for being here, for pushing through. Thank yourself for going inward. Not easy to do. So go ahead, take an inhale, fill up with gratitude. Thank yourself for showing up each night. And then open mouth, exhale, share it off. And then you can stay here, or option 2, start to release, maybe curl into a ball, squeezing the legs towards the belly, maybe lift the head, the forehead can gently draw towards the knees, give yourself a hug. But when you're ready, finding your way into Shavasana corpse pose. However that looks right now. Arms and legs can go long. Maybe grab blankets, socks, sweatshirts. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. Maybe slide the shoulder blades up underneath you, opening and closing the mouth. But feeling supported with the ground underneath you, giving permission to the body, to the muscles to soften, to let go. And then option 2, reconnect with the sacral chakra. That bright orange light shining from the pelvis to every inch of the body. Connecting with this place of creativity, emotional balance, and the power of letting go. Maybe today in your practice you were able to create openness in the body and in the mind to maybe let go of your inner critic, the judgments, the doubts, to create space here to share your ideas and your emotions. Space to allow your creativity to flow inward and out, just like the breath, just like the ocean waves. So feel free to be here in this new space you have created. Feeling, maybe watching the creativity flow inward and outward, just like the breath, just like the ocean waves. But know at any point if you lose the breath, if you lose the flow, just make note of it. And without any judgment, bring it back. Reconnecting with the rise and the fall. Reconnecting with the flow. Checking in, seeing where the mind is at, maybe reconnecting with the rise and the fall, reconnecting with the flow. Checking in, seeing where the mind is at. Maybe feeling the creativity flow inward and outward, just like the ocean waves, just like the inhales and the exhales. Reconnecting with the rise and the fall, reconnecting with the flow. As we start to close out our practice, feel free to come back to that bright orange light from within. The sun shining its warmth to every inch of your being. Now imagine that light shining from within you, outward to other people, other beings, and this earth. Allowing creativity to flow among us, creating a unique place to share and to grow. Take an inhale, fill up with creativity within you. Exhale, share it outward. And then one more time, thank yourself for being here. Thank yourself for creating space to express your unique self and to share it with this world. And if you have extra time, please feel free to stay for as long as you want. But whenever you're ready, you can slowly reawaken. Wiggling the fingers, the toes. Roll the ankles, the wrists. Maybe start to reach the arms up overhead. Send the legs long. Take some wiggles. And then the knees can come to the chest. Maybe rock to your favorite side for fetal pose. Using the bottom arm as a pillow. Taking some time here to maybe reflect. But taking some time for rebirth. And then whenever you're ready, you can slowly press up to a seat. Cross the ankles, sit on the shins. But find your long, strong spine. Driving the belly in, softening the shoulders back, growing nice and tall. Hands can stay rested on the thighs, or maybe hands to heart center for Anjali Mudra, sealing in our practice. Go ahead, take a deep inhale into the nose. Fill up, biggest breath yet. Open mouth, exhale, share it out. I thank you all for being here. I thank yoga for bringing us together. From my heart to yours, with so much gratitude, I bow. Thank you, thank you. Beautiful work. Have a great rest of your evening, your night.